Senior writer for The Ringer, also president of the Professional Writers Association. Howard Beck is here. Howard, before we move on, what kind of president are you? Talk to me about that role.
What's happening, Beadle? Good to see you.
Good to see you too, man.
How we doing, Howard?
How we doing? Like, are you a stern president, or how do you rule?
I like to think of myself as kind of more of the collaborative type, right? I want to listen to the people. I respect my constituency and their concerns. You know, it's not about me, it's about us.
That's how you do it. That is how it gets done. We're going to start with one of the bigger stories that's currently floating around. It's the Jason Tatum. We're all sort of on pins and needles waiting for his big return. Maybe tomorrow, maybe not. We shall see. But with that being said, Jaylen Brown's already gotten a lot of steam as far as MVP candidacy. Is that going to lower a little bit with Tatum's return, or what are you looking at here?
Yeah, I'm sure that's the least of Jaylen Brown's or the Celtics' concerns right now, right? They're just, I think, probably thrilled to have Jason Tatum apparently back soon and to bolster what has been an absolutely incredible run without him. And they are firmly in contention even without Jason Tatum, and that can only help. The MVP part of it, I think Jaylen Brown is kind of on the fringes of this anyway. If you look at Tim Bontemps' straw poll from a couple weeks back, I think Jaylen finished 6th in the straw poll, just behind, I think LUKA was 5th. I had him 4th on my fake straw poll ballot, and I think Jaylen Brown deserves a lot of consideration, but he's kind of in that second tier after the top guys, right? As long as no one gets eliminated by the 65-game rule, it's still, I think, Shea and Jokic in some order at the top, and Cade is really making a strong case behind them. Wemby's in the mix firmly, obviously. So Jaylen Brown, because of what he has done, the totality of his impact in carrying the Celtics this far, he'll get a lot of consideration. But, you know, MVP has a lot to do with how gaudy your stats are, too, and your efficiency and all these other things, and he lags behind some of those other candidates in whether it's the traditional or the advanced numbers.
It's interesting that Luka's up there 5th above JB and Anthony Edwards, probably because he's leading the league in scoring.
Yeah, that's a fact. Howard, I want to stay in the East because you reported during the Giannis trade saga that LA and Miami were potential landing spots. Do you see a world in which Giannis could possibly stay with the Bucks past next season? And if not, what's a potential landing spot for him? Does he stay in the East?
Yeah, Lou, I think it's pretty small chances at this point that Giannis is back with the Bucks. I mean, there's always a possibility, right? They still have, even though there's this wonky thing with their draft pick where the Pelicans are claiming the Hawks are getting either the Pelicans or the Bucks pick. If the Bucks keep their pick and they still end up in the lottery, which is still a possibility, they could still get a nice pick. Could they flip that for immediate help? Could that player himself be enough to convince Giannis to stay? There are some variables here that could change the trajectory. But the trajectory right now, let's be very, very clear, is Giannis does want out. He's made that pretty clear behind the scenes. He hasn't said it as strongly publicly, but even as recently as a couple weeks ago, sitting down with Malika Andrews, talking about, and he's said a version of this several times over the last few years. Yeah, I would like to win in Milwaukee, but I need to win. I need to win it. I need to contend for more championships. And if that's not in Milwaukee, then it has to be somewhere else. And Milwaukee clearly is not in position to do that. And I just don't know if it's realistic to expect that they can change that reality in the next few months. So that being the case, yeah, I expect Giannis is going to be wearing a different uniform opening night in the fall. Wow. Whether that's LA or Miami, whether that's New York, wherever it may be, I would expect more that outcome than him staying in Milwaukee.
He's taking the avoidance route. I don't know if anybody has these dating terms in their arsenal lately, but he's like an avoidant. He's trying to have you break up with him because he doesn't want to do it.
It's like the Dame and Portland thing. Eventually, they're just going to mutually find a landing spot for him that's going to help.
It's messier than if you just said, hey, I probably got to go.
Yeah.
It would be clean.
Now, Howard, circling back to the Lakers, there was a little testy bench exchange with Luka as he exited the game. Me and Lou have been there before. It could just be frustration. It could just be, something that happened, that was minor. Or, Howard, is there something more to this relationship in this situation?
Yeah, it's funny. It made me think about, back in the day, I'm going to date myself, but Michelle can relate. Once upon a time...
Howard!
I just mean that you and I have been on the beat together.
I know, but Lou called me old right before the show started. We're really on a roll
right now. I'm way older than Michelle.
Yes.
Let's be clear.
Clip it.
I didn't know that. This was not supposed to be shots fired at Michelle. I'm way older. Back in the day, Chandler, to your question, we would know how to read that because we in the media, especially when I was a beat writer, we were courtside. So we could actually see and hear quite a bit, and you could read a lot better into those situations. We're all interpreting this based off of, a clip that goes viral, and that's always a little bit dangerous. And so I try not to overreact to these things. But yeah, I mean, look, you guys have seen a bazillion versions of this over time. This looked like garden variety kind of barking back and forth, or coach barking at player. Like, you always have your antenna up when it's the superstar player and when they're still pretty early in their relationship, right? They've been together for just a little over a year. And, JJ was hired at a time when LeBron was the center of the Lakers universe, not Luka. So I think you could say maybe it bears watching that relationship overall, but not necessarily because of that exchange.
Yeah.
Do you think the Lakers build around Luka and Austin Reeves and quite possibly let LeBron walk? Do you think that's the next steps?
I have said this, Lou, many times over the last month or so, couple of months. This is like the most consequential offseason for the Lakers in a long time. Probably, I mean, you could say since they got Anthony Davis in 2019, but probably since they first landed LeBron. This is a hugely consequential summer because they have to figure out whether LeBron is coming back. I think that seems doubtful at this point. They need to start moving forward, building around Luka, and LeBron, depending on what he might demand in salary, assuming he's still playing, ties you up too much. So they're straddling eras right now, and they need to clarify that. So they've got to make a decision on LeBron. They've got to make a decision on how much to pay Austin Reeves to keep him, obviously. But then really important after that, cool, you've got your 1-2 punch. What's around them? Because this supporting cast ain't cutting it.
Yeah.
And they've got a lot of work to do, that front office, if it is that front office, because you also have new ownership, and I think it's fair to at least wonder about what other changes are coming in the next few months, with now a new president of the club and Lon Rosen and others that are coming in from the Dodgers side.
Wow, they would have big decisions to make this summer.
I like that.
Whoever gets
strategy.
that job. And you just said you think it's doubtful, most likely, that LeBron ends up